Hey guys, it's Kara with iStampin.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I have a fun card using an older stamp set. This is called Flower Patch. It came out in our annual catalog last year, but it has a lot of great sentiments, and then the flower images. There's just a lot that you can do with the stamp set. And I'm going to be using it with the coordinating framelits, the Flower Fair. So let's get started, okay? All right, so the first thing that I'm doing is I am using our new thick Whisper White cardstock. If you haven't had an opportunity to use this yet, you definitely want to. It's really nice. Just a tip when using this, when you do want to create a card, you do want to actually score the middle. If you just fold it, it has a tendency to crack. So scoring is the best way to use this. But this is just your regular A2 size card, so it measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it 4 1/4. And we're actually going to do some stamping on the card, but first we're going to stamp some flowers on just a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and then we'll cut those out. So the colors that I'm using today for my flowers are Blushing Bride in Calypso Coral, Crushed Curry. I'm going to stamp 3 flowers, and then the other one is going to be in Pool Party and Island Indigo. And I'm going to do the main image in Blushing Bride. So when doing two-step stamping, I like to have the largest image in the lighter color and then the accent piece in a darker color. And because this is a solid image with the photopolymer, it is good to have the paper piercing mat behind it. Okay, so I'm inking it up in Blushing Bride. Okay, and I'm not crazy about that image, or I'm not crazy about this impression, so I'm going to flip it over and try again. Okay, now I'm going to put pressure on all part of the flower. That's just what happens with these big solid images. You just got to put a lot of pressure on there. Okay, that's a lot better. And then I'm going to get the coordinating stamp, and this is going to be in Calypso Coral. Okay, and with the photopolymer you can see right through it. There we go. So we're going to put that off to this, the last image. Okay, and I'm going to stamp the small little center part of the flower in Night of Navy. So there's the flower. And if you saw that I had that little mistake right there, so I covered it up with the Night of Navy, so that worked out perfectly. I'm going to start with my lightest color, which is Pool Party. Okay, and just press down hard. Make sure I've got pressure on all 4 sides. Okay, and then we'll get this image. And we will use Island Indigo for this stamp. And again, just line it up with your previous stamp. And then that's what that's going to look like. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the coordinating framelits. I am going to cut those out on my Big Shot. Okay, and the first framelit that I got for the small flower, that was the incorrect one, so this is the right one. So we just pop them out, And we have instant flowers. I love how the framelits coordinate with the stamps. It makes it so much easier. Okay, so we're gonna bring in our card base. I'm gonna stamp this little small flower right here. And crushed curry. I'm gonna stamp directly onto the cardstock, about right here. Oh, let me get my pad just in case. Perfect. So what I'm thinking of is I'm gonna pop up the flowers, but layer them like so. I think that's what I'm gonna do. But first, before I do that, I need to do a little bit more stamping. I'm gonna make this a birthday card, and I'm gonna use this Happy Blooming Birthday as my sentiment. So I'm gonna get this straight on the mat. Okay, and I'm gonna ink this up in Night of Navy. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this off and I'm going to stamp it again in another color. I'm just going to bring in my scratch paper from the flowers. And I'm going to ink this up in Pool Party. And I'm going to stamp it again. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out the blooming and I'm going to pop that up on top of this image. So let me get my scissors out and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay. And I'm just gonna pin at both the edges. So I just cut right in the middle and then I just cut from both sides. And so it's gonna look like that, but I'm gonna pop that up. So let me get my dimensionals out. And for this, I'm just going to cut dimensionals in half because I need, this is thin. Do one more. And I need to cut this one and cut this off. And I will have a new hostess code attached with this video for the month of August. So be sure to take advantage of that. The last 2 months, the ladies have had lots of fun shopping. Getting half off items, which is, I'm so happy to be able to give that to my customers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to layer this right on top and cover up the blooming in Night of Navy. So it looks like that. So we just covered that up. Okay, and then one thing I forgot to say, I'm going to add just a part of the top of a doily right up here. So I'm just going to use my paper trimmer to make sure it's straight. I'm just going to slice off just the top part of this doily. Just like that. And just put it up like there. Like that. And I'll just use a little bit of snail for this. And I probably should have done this first, because looking at this now, ideally I would like that flower to be just a tad lower, but I'm not gonna sweat it. Just make sure this is lined up. Okay, and then before I put the flowers on, I'm gonna wrap the card in twine. I'm just going to wrap it around once and then tie a bow. Okay, so once you have the bow tied, just pull the tails until you get the size of loops that you want. So that looks good. And then I'll just trim off the excess. Whoops. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a glue dot. And I'm just going to put it right behind the bow to make sure that it doesn't move. Just like that. Okay. All right, so now I can bring the flowers back in, and then we're going to pop those up. So let's do this one first. Because this is a larger flower, you may want to use a few more dimensionals than you normally would. I like to use a lot of dimensionals. I like to make sure that my projects don't sag, but you may not like to use as many dimensionals. They're cheap. Okay, so I'm going to put this flower about there, and then let's see, I kind of want to cover up that one little part of the flower where I didn't stamp very well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm only wanting to lift up this side of the flower, so I'm just wanting to put dimensionals just on that side. So I'm going to go ahead and use that little bit that I cut. And then on the side that's going to be on top of the flower, I'll just use some glue dots. So let's see here. Is that about? I think that's about right. There we go. All right, and to finish off the project, I am using, for this flower, I'm going to use our new metal rimmed pearls. I don't know if you saw my Weekly Wonders project a few weeks back when these are one of our weekly deals. I just absolutely love these things. These, just that little metal rim just adds so much character to that tiny embellishment, and I just absolutely love it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the basic pearls, and I'm going to use the little tiny ones and just place them around the card just to give it a little bit of, just to finish it off. I'll use one of the larger, the medium-sized ones. I'll put one over here. And there you have it. It's a fun card using one of our older stamp sets. So if you haven't gotten this stamp set, this is a great one to have. If you have it, pull it out and just add these fun little embellishments with the metal rimmed pearls. Do the little popping up of the sentiment in a different color that just really makes it pop. Okay guys, if you have any questions, just comment below. And as always, I will have an accompanying blog post so that you can go get all of the direct links to the products that I used today and any other information that you may need. Thanks, ladies. Have a great day. Bye-bye.